Hi everybody, and welcome to our latest Civil War Bluejackets explainer video. And this one is pretty exciting after years of hard work that you've all been putting on the Zooniverse. We are going to be showing you the first version of what is going to be out there at the end of it all. So my name is Damien Shields, and I'm joined by Morgan Harvey. We are both involved in managing the Civil War Bluejackets project. I'm a historian. Morgan is a computer person.
That's what I say. Yeah.
Morgan has designed this database. You might have watched some of his other videos explaining to us the incredible process that he's gone through in relation to working out all of the details of what you see on Zooniverse and how the computer is reading it. But this is going to be the freely available database that is resulting from all your hard work. So Morgan, do you want to talk us through this version of the Civil War Bluejackets database to show people what it's going to be able to do when it finally gets launched?
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I'd love to. I'm very excited to show you this, and hopefully it makes you feel, hopefully you're already enjoying working on the Zooniverse project for us, and we're really grateful if you are. But hopefully this gives you a bit more incentive and shows you that your work is going to a really good end output, final output. So this is an example of the web interface that we have built. We should know we have an agreement with Ancestry and Fold 3, so all of our data is going to be eventually made available through those platforms as well. But we will be making this interface available to the University of Sheffield as well. So as you can see here, it's a basic search interface. There's a lot of all different fields that you've been working on. You can search through. You can change start dates and end dates if you want to look at vessels over particular periods and so on. I'm just going to put in just a totally random, Damien. I'm going to choose a place of birth at random. I'm going to put in Scotland. As you can see, we've got.
You didn't know where Morgan was from, people. You do now.
You'd never guess. So one thing you'll notice, of course, is it's doing some autocomplete. So you get a drop-down menu of possible entries from the database. So that can help out a little bit. We can add multiple criteria, and if we wanted all the Scots from a certain vessel or with a certain occupation, things like that, we can do that. We'll just look for all the Scots first. You can dictate how many results you want to see on a page. I'm just going to show 25 at the moment. And you'll notice there's this box here, show confidence. And I'll explain what that is in a little second. So we click search. There's a lot of Scots, so it'll take a little second. That was quite quick. So you can see we've got 4,708 matches. So that's a lot of Scots, 189 pages. And you can paginate through them if you want to go through them all. And as you can see here, this is the main interface. So we've got all the columns that you were working on transcribing, as well as obviously the vessel that the person served on, the date of the muster that this row pertains to, and various other things as well. So we can go down here and have a look. These are all the ones where, as you can see, in the where-born column, the Scotland appears in some form or other. And you'll notice a couple of things. First, you'll notice that you can click on the vessels themselves. This will take you to the Wikipedia page for that vessel, which you might find useful. You can also click on the actual muster date itself, and this will take you to, and I can show that, this will take you to the exact muster in the NARA catalogue. If you want to see that, so you'll get to see this is the exact muster that particular data was drawn from. So if you want to check and verify the database or see the original record, you can always do that, which is, I think, a nice thing to be able to do. The other thing you'll notice is all of the people's names are links as well. And if I click on, for example, let's go down and have a look. Who do we want to go for? Maybe, I don't know, Thomas Wilson, something like that. Click on Thomas Wilson. And what it will do is it will show you the closest records to that person on Ancestry and Fold 3. So in this case, we've got 4 registers of patient naval hospitals and naval hospital tickets and case papers. And you've got a very high confidence here. So it's very likely that is the very same Thomas Wilson that was on the vessel. And you can do this for anyone on this. So here's Alexander Clark, for example. And again, we've got the most relevant corresponding records from those collections. Did you want to say something about it?
Yeah, I was just going to say it's one of the reasons that we were very keen to look at the Navy, because so many of their records have been digitized. So the records Morgan is showing you there are things like we have him now on the muster roll and those information, but things like the weekly returns when he originally enlisted in a rendezvous in a certain city, the pension file, in the case we saw there, it was a disapproved pension file. He applied and didn't get the pension. You can have the hospital papers, which will detail things like the medical care that he got when he was in specific places. So it's an incredible abundance of information that isn't as readily available, for example, for the army. And it's one of the enormously powerful tools for genealogists as well as historians that these naval muster sheets give us when you link them the way Morgan has done in this database.
Thanks, Damien. I mean, I guess that highlights one nice thing about this system is that if you want to look at things in large scale and do analysis, of demographics and so on vessels, we've got all the large scale data. But if you really want to drill down on individual sailors, there's also the opportunity to do that, which is really nice. I'll show you some features now that relate to what I said there about looking at maybe macro statistics, demographics, and so on. So you probably noticed at the top here with all the columns, there's a little icon here. And what you can do with that, for example, if we want to see, well, which vessels did all the Scots serve on, we can just click here and it'll tabulate that for us. So we can see a lot of the Scots were on the Colorado, the Richmond, the Lancaster, the Hartford, and so on going down. And we can do that for things like, we can say, well, what occupations did the Scots have before they enlisted? And again, we can just very quickly do that. A lot of them were mariners, so that's maybe not surprising. But again, you can scroll down and this will sort of really expedite any kind of statistical work you might want to do if you just want these quick demographic statistics. The other thing you can do if you want to drill down to these records a bit more, and maybe you're interested in doing some analysis in Excel or Python or whatever tool you might use, any record set that you generate, so any of your searches, you can just click on this download as CSV link here, and it will do exactly as it says. So it will download that exact set of records, so those 4,708 records as a CSV file you can open in any modern program for data analysis, including Excel or Python or anything. So if you want to do a bit more sleuthing, you can do that. The other thing just to mention to you, you've probably noticed all these different colored boxes here. And this relates to this confidence thing that we talked about here. You can show the confidence or you can choose to not show it. And what this is, as you might recall, the whole project was to try to semi-automatically transcribe these records. And so what we did is in the first phase, we got human beings to help us to train our machine learning models to transcribe these texts. And these boxes here and their colors correspond to how confident the machine was in its transcription, right? So if it's a nice green here, like these ones here, the machine is very confident in its transcription. You can be fairly sure that these are correct. You can see, for example, one here where with this description, it looks like it's correct. Blue, brown, and white looks correct, but the box indicates that the machine was a little bit less confident than it was maybe in New York here or the 22nd November 1862 in this field, right? So this allows you to say, well, if I've got some data I'm interested in and it happens to be red or brown, maybe I want to look at if it's important to me, I want to look at the original record. Here's a good example here where this is clearly erroneous. I don't think the term of enlistment was APOP 60, so you might want to, again, be careful with that. One other thing to say is you'll notice there's another type of box where it's a very dark green box with a cross over it. This means that the machine was unsure about this transcription. What it's actually done is we've sent it to human beings on Zooniverse in phase 2 to verify that and potentially correct it. So again, you can be pretty sure that anything that you see with a dark green box with a cross, this has been human verified by at least 3 humans. So it's very unlikely to be incorrect. So those two things together mean that, as you can see, most of the records, if we keep going through and look at more of them, almost all of the data in the database is nice bright green or a dark green. So it's really, really complete. And as I say, we have huge amounts of data now in this. We have over 3 million individual entries by this stage, and by the end we'll have something like 5.5 million. So it's what people like to call big data. I don't like that term, but this is what people call big data, I suppose. And again, you can look at as many different. So if we want to look at all the Scots, for example, that were maybe landsmen, and we can put Scots, LDS, and we can again run a more complex search, and these are all the Scots who were enlisted the rating of landsmen on the vessels. And we can do all the same analysis that we could do with the larger record set.
So, and you can decide whether you want to search for people from a specific state, a ship, based on their occupation. It's incredibly malleable in what you can discover, and with that surety that you can always go back then to the original muster roll. So that's what we were trying to achieve here, this crossover where it's of interest for people looking for individuals, for genealogists, and also then for historians or people who are interested in a very specific vessel, or people from a specific country, or whatever it may be, that it's got this huge capacity to give people the information that they want to get in a much more easy fashion than previous. And that's what everyone's work on Zooniverse is helping us to achieve. So we should be launching this sometime over the next 12-month period, we hope. So that's going to be the outcome, that you'll be able to explore it and see the fruits of all your labor.